What is going on, guys? Eric White's in the building, and no, I did not choose my last name, unfortunately. And I have been getting a lot of questions about people asking me what camera they should get. They have a friend who wants to get into photography. They have a friend who wants to start vlogging, all these different types of things. And I figured I might as well go ahead and make it into a video because I know not just the people who have been asking me want to know what camera they should get, but just in general, a lot of people are starting to dive into YouTube for their first time, vlogging, all these different things, and they want to know what camera they should be getting as their first camera. And today I want to put into a video and give you my recommendations as to what camera I think you guys should be choosing for your first camera. Now, the very first thing before we even get into the actual cameras themselves is there's something that I want to make very clear, and that is make sure that you absolutely pay attention to the audio quality for your videos as well. A lot of people, they just think that putting a camera at themselves, and if the video is 8K and it's super sharp and there's high dynamic range and there's all these great things and the audio sounds like it's coming from a toilet, no one's gonna watch it. You have to make sure that you are putting extra love and care into your audio as well. And you don't even have to spend thousands of dollars for a good mic. You can literally spend $60 on a really good shotgun mic. This is the Rode Video Micro, and this is the #1 thing that I recommend to people if they're going to start getting into video. Now, it might not make sense. Why would you recommend an audio product if people are going to be starting getting into video? Well, audio is half of video, and you want to make sure that you are putting love and care, like I was just saying, into your audio as well. This thing is $60. You don't have to charge it. It's gonna be 10 times better than using the audio that is on your onboard camera, and it's just a very worthy investment if you're going to start getting into video. All right, now that we got that out of the way, my first recommendation for starting video, whether that be vlogging, YouTube videos, or anything like that, is to use what you have and basically just use a phone. Now, a lot of the videos that I have on this channel, especially at the very beginning, all the way up until August of last year, I was using a phone for everything, for YouTube, for my work, for video gigs, literally everything. I was using my phone as my designated video recording device because I didn't have the money to get an actual camera that I'm going to recommend to you guys. So if you have a camera, whether that be an iPhone 7, the iPhone 12 Pro Max, the Samsung Galaxy S9, the Note 20 Pro, like any camera or any phone that you have, just use that to get started and start getting comfortable with using the video functions of the camera and just start talking to yourself and getting used to that, because talking to a camera might sound really easy at first, but sometimes it's really awkward and you might not know everything to say and you're not used to looking at the lens and a bunch of different things. So just start with what you have and just use your camera on your phone. And the great thing is that they have these really cool adapters that have this little cold shoe mount right on the top right there. This is so that you can attach the microphone right there, have your camera mounted right here, and you can literally just vlog like that. That's what I did for a long portion of my YouTube channel. And you guys can do it too. This thing is only $2 or $3 and it's perfect for just getting started. Now, my second recommendation, and actually there's gonna be a number of recommendations in this category. A lot of people might not agree with me on this, and that's totally fine. This is my opinion. But I think you should save up $500, $700 and get a DSLR or mirrorless camera. Now, that sounds really crazy, and it might be like a huge investment, especially for some people, depending on how much money you make and a bunch of different variables. But there's this weird gap in between being free and $500 where there's a lot of trash in between that category. Now, I'm not talking about used cameras. In fact, you can get a used Sony a6000 at $6,300. Some used old Sony cameras in that $400, $300 range if you're lucky. I'm talking about the cameras that you see on Best Buy and Walmart, those $200, $300 video weird cameras that the lens zooms in and out. Do not get those. Those things are so trash, and I know because I've had one of those. If you look at the first few videos on my channel, you will see that the video looks terrible, the audio is terrible, and that's because I was using one of those cameras. I was using the Fujifilm FinePix 8300. You can get it for around $200 now, and it's a good, okay camera for someone who I don't even know how to recommend that camera. It's just a weird, especially since our phones are so good now, it would literally be a downgrade if you picked up one of those instead of getting the recommendations that I want. Now, the recommendation that I have for you guys is the Canon SL2 and the Canon SL3. Now, the Canon SL2 is great because it has a 24 megapixel sensor, it has a flip out screen, It has 1080 at 60 frames per second, so you can slow down the footage if you want to. And it's just a really great camera. You're gonna get great autofocus. It's gonna get really nice colors. I've used a Canon for a super long time, so you're just gonna be getting a really good camera. And the thing that's great about this camera, along with the other cameras that I'm gonna recommend to you guys, is that it's an interchangeable lens system, meaning that you can take off the lens if you don't want to use the kit lens that's on this, which is gonna get you by, but it's not the greatest lens in the world. And you can put a way better, sharper lens onto the camera, whether that be the Canon lens that I have right now, which is a 24mm 2.8, or my other really favorite lens, which is the 50mm 1.8. And those lenses are both of them are under $100. I got the 50mm for around $83 on sale, and the 24mm I got for around $110. So you're really not going to be spending too much money to get really good images with these lenses. Now the Canon Sl3 is a little bit of an upgrade from the Sl2. You get 4K at 24 frames per second, and also the other things that I mentioned. So great autofocus, a flip out screen, 1080/60 if you want to slow things down and things like that. It's just a little bit of an upgrade from the Sl2, and if you had around $50 to $100 more, this is the camera that I'd recommend. Now the Canon Sl2 you can pick up for around $500 and $400 if you're lucky and you find a sale on eBay. The Canon Sl3, if you want to pick it up new, is around $600 to $700. So they are a little bit more expensive, but I guarantee you it is a really decent starter camera, an entry-level DSLR camera for people who are really looking into getting into videography. After you've used your phone for a while and you're thinking, hey, I'm actually ready to start taking a step towards getting a little bit more professional video. Maybe you want to edit the settings some more and actually start, looking at aperture, ISO, and shutter speed and adjusting all those things to get better looking video. This would be a great entry-level camera for that, and it's also a great entry for people who want to start photography. With that 24 megapixel sensor on both of these, you're going to be getting really nice sharp images, especially if you upgrade the lenses like I was saying earlier with a 24mm or a 50mm. You're going to be getting a really good entry-level camera for photography or videography, whichever one you decided to go with. Now the other cameras that I recommend are from Sony, and these are the a6300 and the a6000. These cameras came out years ago, but I still think that these are really good entry-level cameras, especially for the price at around $400. You're gonna be getting 4K at 30 frames a second, really good autofocus, and you're also gonna be getting a really good photography entry-level camera as well, just because of all the specs that are on this thing. Now, this is a really good entry-level photography and video camera too, whichever one you decide to go with, and there's really no huge difference to go with this one over the Sl2 or the Sl3. This one is kind of just your preference. If you want to go with the Sony ecosystem, you can do that. If you want to go with the Canon ecosystem, you can do that. But there's honestly not a real reason why you'd want to go with Canon over Sony. It's really just your personal preference. I'm with the Fujifilm, so I'm not even in that argument. So it's completely up to you which ecosystem you want to go with. Now, my next recommendation is a little bit more expensive, but I think this is probably the best all-around camera that is out right now, and that is a Canon M50. This thing has 4K as well. This has 1080, I think at 120 frames per second. You can slow it down all the way down to 20% speed and get that really buttery smooth slow motion that's literally all over YouTube. This is a really great entry-level camera for video, photography, everything. This is a Canon as well, so it's gonna have great Canon colors, it's gonna have great autofocus, it's gonna have decent battery life, and it's just gonna be a really good, decent starter camera. Now this one's a little bit more expensive at around $650 to $700, but I really think for someone who really wants to kind of, after they figured out that they really wanted to get into videography and photography, because this thing can easily do both if you wanted to, this would be my recommendation for that person. Now my next recommendation is for someone who's a little bit more niche in what they do, and they're not necessarily doing a whole bunch of different types of videos. It's one specific market that they want to focus on, and that's kind of travel videography. Now, this camera is the Sony Zv1, and it doesn't have an interchangeable lens. It's literally a camera that you put in your pocket, the lens retracts. It's like a compact camera that we used to see way back in the day. But this one is a really good camera. It still has 4K, it still has great autofocus and all those great things. It just comes at a way more compact body and a little bit of a cheaper price than some of the higher end DSLRs and mirrorless cameras that you see on the market. Now, like I said, this isn't for everyone. This is for someone who does a lot of traveling, who goes all over the world, and they don't want to worry about, packing up a bunch of different lenses and a bunch of different gear. They just want to put a camera in their pocket, take it out, do some video, and put the camera back in their pocket and not have to worry about anything. This is for that person. Now, if you're that person, I would highly recommend this camera for you. If you travel a lot and do everything that I was talking about before, this is the perfect camera for you. But anyway guys, that is all that I have for this video. Hopefully this video helped you guys out and helped you decide what type of camera you're going to be looking at getting, whether that be starting with your phone if you're just getting started and trying to figure out how to not be awkward in front of the camera, how to just, you know, video different things and getting comfortable with using the actual camera first. And then maybe you're the person who's already been doing that and you want to start looking into getting your first DSLR. You can look at the Canon Sl2, the Sl3, the A6300, the M50, all those different cameras that I recommended. And if you're a little bit more niche and you travel a lot and you just want a camera that works and you're willing to save up, you know, $750 to $800, the Sony Zv1 is a great camera for that person. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, make sure you go down below, click that like button, turn it blue. If you guys are new, click the sub button, join the Innovation Nation. And just like always, I see you guys in the next one.